The Stormers secured a 33-14 victory over Edinburgh Rugby in their United Rugby Championship clash in Cape Town, but the scoreline only tells part of the story. Beneath the surface of this bonus point win was a contest defined by tactical stubbornness, missed opportunities, individual brilliance, and ultimately a late surge that flattered the hosts. This was not a straightforward victory for the Stormers. Instead, it was a match that demanded patience, resilience, and eventually a decisive burst of execution in the final quarter. While the home side walked away with 5 points, there will be plenty for head coach John Dobson to reflect on as his team continues its pursuit of silverware. A hard-fought victory despite the scoreline at first glance, a 33-14 result suggests a dominant performance. In reality, this was anything but comfortable for the Stormers. Edinburgh, despite sitting lower in the standings, brought intensity, structure, and a clear tactical plan that disrupted the rhythm of the home side for long stretches. The first half, in particular, was a tight and tense affair. Both teams struggled to convert pressure into points, often opting for a kick-heavy strategy that slowed the tempo of the game. While this approach created an intriguing tactical battle, it also led to frustration as attacking opportunities were repeatedly squandered. The deadlock was finally broken in the 24th minute through Evan Roos, who would go on to deliver a standout performance. Running an excellent support line off to Thukom Chunu, Roos powered over to score the opening try. It was a moment of clarity in an otherwise scrappy contest. Edinburgh responded before the break with one of the tries of the match. James Lang read the play superbly, intercepting a pass and sprinting the length of the field to score a sensational solo try. The teams went into halftime level at 7-7, a fair reflection of a closely contested opening 40 minutes. A tactical arm wrestle in the air. One of the defining features of this match was the sheer volume of kicking. With a combined total of over 80 kicks, 45 from the Stormers and 38 from Edinburgh, this was very much an aerial battle. Coach John Dobson had highlighted Edinburgh's kicking strength before the match, and his side appeared determined to meet that challenge head-on. The result was a game dominated by territory exchanges, high balls, and tactical positioning rather than fluid attacking rugby. At times, this approach worked in the Stormers' favor. They were able to gain territory and apply pressure, particularly through their ability to contest kicks in the air. However, the execution often fell short. Many kicks lacked precision, allowing Edinburgh to regain possession or relieve pressure with relative ease. Modern rugby has increasingly embraced tactical kicking as a key component of the game, but for it to be effective, it must be accurate and contestable. In this match, both teams struggled to consistently meet those standards. The result was a stop-start rhythm that prevented either side from building sustained attacking momentum. Willemse's experiment on the wing. A major talking point ahead of the match was Dobson's decision to deploy Damian Willemse on the wing. The double Rugby World Cup winner is typically utilized in more central roles, where his playmaking ability and vision can have maximum impact. The move was a tactical one, aimed at countering Edinburgh's kicking game. Willemse's aerial skills made him a logical choice to field high balls and contest kicks, and in that regard, he performed well. However, the experiment also highlighted a key limitation. Playing on the wing, particularly in a kick-dominated match, meant that Willemse had limited involvement in open play. One of his greatest strengths is his ability to influence the game with ball in hand, creating opportunities and linking play. From the wing, those opportunities were fewer. That said, his performance was far from disappointing. While he made a couple of errors, including a costly slip that handed Edinburgh a dangerous attacking position, his overall contribution was solid. Considering it was his first outing in the role, there is reason to believe he could adapt further if given more opportunities. The question for Dobson moving forward is whether the tactical benefits of deploying Willemse on the wing outweigh the loss of his influence in more central positions. Dominance without efficiency. Statistically, the Stormers had the upper hand in several key areas. They made more carries, more line breaks, and more turnovers than their opponents. Yet, for much of the match, this dominance did not translate into points. The issue was not a lack of opportunity, but rather a lack of execution. Time and again, the Stormers entered Edinburgh's 22, only to come away empty-handed. Poor decision-making, handling errors, and turnovers undermined their attacking efforts. In total, they conceded 23 turnovers, far too many for a team with ambitions of competing at the highest level. this inefficiency kept Edinburgh in the game far longer than might have been expected. The Scottish side defended resolutely and capitalised on Stormers' mistakes, ensuring that the contest remained finely balanced deep into the second half. It was only in the final quarter that the Stormers began to assert their superiority on the scoreboard. A decisive final quarter. The turning point came in the last 20 minutes, when the Stormers finally found the accuracy and intensity that had eluded them earlier. One of the standout moments was a remarkable try from Chunu, who charged over from distance after running a superb line off Warwick Jellant. For a front row forward, it was an impressive display of pace and awareness. Shortly thereafter, Jellant played a key role again, setting up Roos for his second try of the match. It was a fitting reward for Roos, whose performance had been instrumental throughout. The final blow came from veteran Dion Ferree. At 39 years old, Ferree demonstrated his enduring quality by capitalizing on a dominant scrum to score in the closing stages. These late tries transformed what had been a tight contest into a convincing victory on paper. However, the scoreline arguably flattered the Stormers, masking the challenges they faced for much of the match. Individual performances, the good and the bad. This match was a study in contrasts. When it came to individual performances, Roos was undoubtedly the standout player. His 2 tries, combined with his physical presence and work rate, earned him the Man of the Match award and strengthened his case for greater involvement with the Springboks. Sasha Feinbergen-Gomezulu had moments of brilliance, particularly with his ability to regather his own kicks. However, his performance was also marked by inconsistency. Missed kicks at goal and errors in open play prevented him from fully controlling the game. Jellant was another player who experienced both highs and lows. While he played a role in several tries, he also conceded possession too easily at times, reflecting the broader issues within the team. Chunu's performance encapsulated the unpredictable nature of the match. His early offload to set up Roos' try and his own impressive score were highlights, but his yellow card for a needless infringement showed a lack of discipline. For Edinburgh, Lang's intercept try was a moment of brilliance, but his overall performance was similarly inconsistent. Captain Grant Gilchrist worked tirelessly but conceded multiple penalties, which proved costly. The impact of the bench. Ultimately, the difference between the two sides came down to the impact of the replacements. The Stormers' bench injected energy, physicality, and precision at a crucial stage of the match. Players like Ferree provided leadership and composure, while others added the cutting edge that had been missing. In contrast, Edinburgh struggled to maintain their intensity as the game wore on. Having put in a significant defensive effort, they began to tire, allowing the Stormers to exploit gaps and take control. This disparity in bench impact was a decisive factor in the outcome. Conclusion: a win with lessons to learn for the Stormers. This was a valuable victory, securing a bonus point and maintaining momentum in the United Rugby Championship. However, it was far from a perfect performance. The team showed resilience and the ability to finish strongly, but their inefficiency and inconsistency will be areas of concern. Against stronger opposition, such shortcomings could prove costly. For Edinburgh, the defeat will be disappointing, but there were positives to take. Their defensive effort and tactical discipline kept them competitive for much of the match. In the end, this was a game that highlighted both the strengths and weaknesses of the modern game, where tactical kicking, physical battles, and moments of brilliance combined to produce a contest that is as complex as it is compelling. While the Stormers emerged victorious, both teams will leave Cape Town knowing there is still work to be done.